Presenting to Win, The Art of Telling Your Story is a guide to creating and executing an effective presentation. The author of Presenting to Win is Jerry Wiseman. Wiseman wrote this book to give people the ability to give great presentations by using his techniques. This presentation will highlight some of the most important concepts to help you create your own power presentation. The first thing to realize when creating a power presentation is the importance of capturing your audience's attention immediately. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your eyes directly before you. Proverbs 4:25 explains that to reach the final destination, you have to be looking ahead. The same goes for your audience. You have to capture their attention so they can follow you as you lead them to their and your destination. This is done with one of the 7 opening gambits. A good presenter realizes that the audience doesn't have their mind on the presentation, so to get them into their full presence, they'll use one of the opening gambits. One opening gambit is a question directed at the audience. When asking a question, the question has to be relevant to their presentation and have a unanimous answer. A good way to avoid an unfavorable response is to ask a rhetorical question. No matter what the question is, it should always be followed by an answer. A factoid can also be used to catch the audience's attention. A factoid is an interesting fact or a striking statistic that will spark the audience's interest and leave them waiting to learn more. The factoid must also be related to the presentation and be powerful enough to shock the audience into attention. Another opening gambit is a retrospective or prospective. Retrospective and prospectives paint a picture for the audience of either the past or the future and prove how the presenter's idea can or has improved the circumstances. An anecdote is an opening gambit that's a great way to build empathy and identity from the audience. An anecdote is a short story that could turn a boring subject into life. It creates a personal feel to a situation that the audience would normally have an emotional connection to. The 5th opening gambit is a quotation. A quotation can immediately build credibility and audience interest. When using a quotation, the presenter should choose a quote that's from a well-known source and contains information about the positive nature of the subject they'll be discussing. Aphorisms are short sayings to catch the audience's attention. Aphorisms must be credible and must relate naturally to the main theme of the presentation. For an aphorism to work, all or at least most of the audience should be familiar with the saying. The last of Wiseman's 7 opening gambits is the analogy. The analogy is the most popular and effective opening gambit because it's an easy way to simplify a complex idea. It uses a simple story to allow the audience to grasp the essence of your story before it's told. By using the analogy, you can take the audience into the mindset you need to make them more receptive to your message or your story. The 7 opening gambits help you capture your audience's attention, but how do you send your message or make them take action once you have their attention? The answer is by relating your information to your audience. Without an audience, your presentation is useless. So to create an effective presentation, you must know who your audience is by using audience advocacy. Audience advocacy means putting yourself in the audience's shoes. This means learning to view yourself, your company, your story, and your presentation through the eyes of your audience. In your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, who, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. Every day, we're reminded that everyone is one. We all live together under God's love, and we should treat each other as such. We must carry ourselves humbly in every aspect of life, including our presentations and our relationships with our audiences. Once you understand your audience's perspective, you can ask yourself what every audience member is wondering. What's in it for you, or we? The audience won't listen if you have nothing to offer them, so the first step to a successful presentation is finding out who your audience is so you can then find out what your audience wants. By knowing what the audience wants, you can keep their attention by altering your presentation to their benefits. All this is done by continuing to ask yourself, what's in it for you? Once you find the what's in it for you, you can link your features to your benefits. This means you link features about your topic or idea to ways the audience will benefit. For people to act on anything, they must have a reason to act, and the reason must be theirs, not yours. By showing your audience the benefits to your features, you can lead the audience into reaching your goals with you. Wiseman's 7 opening gambits can be used at school and in the workplace. These opening gambits are tools to catch anyone's attention, whether it be during a presentation, in a report or paper, or even verbally. To use a gambit in anything other than a presentation, the person just has to alter the way they use them to not only the audience, but to the setting as well. In a paper, you can't just begin with one of these gambits, so instead you have to integrate them into the paper smoothly. You can integrate them by first giving a little information about your topic, then using the gambit, and finishing with more on how it ties into your topic. You can also use gambits during conversation and in meetings in the workplace. Most meetings and conversations are much more formal than presentations, so you have to use the gambits accordingly. I'll finish with Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. The Lord watches over us every day, and we have faith that His plan for us will reveal itself. We must continue to treat ourselves and others as the Lord teaches, and He will guide us in our careers and in our daily lives.